hey man, you either got to follow your gut and believe in yourself and believe like that this is the path, that you chase and you think it's going to make you feel better, whether that be materialistic, a monetary number, whatever it was. I just was always chasing more. You can go to therapy, you can go to the gym, you can do all these things and touch on, but we don't have many avenues that you can do it all.
And I guarantee that the people who go, they'll say, "Man, I wish I would have done this sooner."
Be willing to work on themselves. I think this is one of the best journal prompts you can do. Is he said, "Do you want to be successful or do you want to be significant?"
Matt, what's going on, brother?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good to see you again, man. Thanks for hopping
You
on.
too. Amen.
Just being here and chatting it up, I really appreciate it. When you and I connected with Brian Pruitt at his Live Elevated experience, we
Yep.
definitely hit it off. We're former athletes. We were doing a little
Yep.
trading. We
Yep.
had a little bit of identity crisis at one point, and we
Yep.
were just kind of addicted to the grind, man. I mean, and then just being in that brotherhood setting, we got to hang out and we got to really link up with the guys. And like I said, you were like part of the original group, with the guys from the summit. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate you hopping on, and you got a cool story to tell and kind of your whole process. So let's just start from
Yeah.
the beginning, man. Where are you from? And
Sure.
then just start with the football experience and sports, and then
Yep.
getting into the good stuff. And if I
Man.
interrupt you, it's just because I came up with a great question, and I just want to pick your brain a little bit more. Okay.
All good. All good, man. All good. Well, I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me. Likewise, hit it off. So, I'm glad to be here. But yeah, I'm from the south side of Chicago, south suburbs. Um, Go Bulls, go Bears, go Sox. So grew up playing sports, free sport athlete, baseball, basketball, football, pretty much my whole life. Um, Gravitated towards um, just anything competitive really my whole life. That was just like the only thing that I really cared to do. And so that's who I became, right? Like we talked about in Florida, like I became an athlete and that's what I identified as. And so played baseball, basketball, football, played at a high level, um, suffered some injuries that, I think we all have to deal with from time to time. And, football was the end all be all for me. It's what I loved to do. And, was my pride and joy, was my passion, and, ended up, I was pretty good. I felt like I was pretty good, tore my ACL. And kind of, that was it, man. Like, back then when you tore your ACL, it was like a death sentence. It wasn't like Adrian
Yeah.
Peterson was that first guy that like kind of showed like, oh man, like we can come back relatively quick and produce, But so I think that was probably in your world, that was my first bout at self like limiting beliefs and self doubt and that mental like, oh my gosh, I have an ACL tear. Like, game over. Like, what is my life? Like, that's where probably my first identity switch came from.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that changed everything. I went from athlete to just student instead of student athlete. And then just focused obviously on finishing up to get my degree and get a business degree and, back into the real world and then figure out how to play life without playing sports. So that's
Yeah.
kind of the sports
The struggle
journey.
we all go through.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's
And
funny.
so,
It's
well, let
actually,
me stop you there. So, I mean, so
yeah.
what year were you when you had the injury in your eligibility?
Uh, so I actually injured my leg twice. So my junior year of high school
Mm-hmm.
and then my freshman year of
Mm-hmm.
college.
Okay.
So right as I was feeling like I was getting started, I finished it right away. So
Mm-hmm. I know, man.
yeah,
That's the worst. And so you
yeah,
finish up, you get your degree, and then now you're in that unknown world that so many athletes we go through. And it's like even Brian talked about it. He's like, I'm just a washed up athlete at one point, washed up baseball dude at one point. He was calling
yep,
himself, and it's
yep.
like, what do we do? And so you went into corporate world, right?
I did. Yeah, got a good job right out of college. Worked for a Fortune 500 company. Felt good for a little bit because it was high level sales, competitive. That drive there when you're trying to earn that way. But I think, to be honest with you, and I'm living in the big city, working in the big city, uh, and I think what I was doing was, when I lost that identity, it pushed me down some roads and some paths that I probably shouldn't have gone down. I was trying to fill voids in other ways, and was just lost there for a while. And I ended up deciding to make a huge career change. And I left the business world, took a huge pay cut, went back to school, and became a full time fireman. So I'm currently a lieutenant with the Orland Fire Protection District, just south of Chicago. Um, and really, focused on that career path. I felt like there was a need for me to get back into that like sports component where like I had that brotherhood and that teamwork and that
Mhm.
kind of component of my life that I think when you really strip it all away from, that's what a lot of us miss, is that locker room atmosphere and being part of something bigger than you. And so
Yes.
I was gravitated to the fire service because I felt like that was going to fill that void for me, which it did.
Mhm.
And then uh, then I became a fireman and then decided there still was more on the table. And so went back into the business world. So I'm currently a firefighter. I'm a mortgage broker and own a small business in town too, a sub shop. So
Incredible.
I'm busy.
And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, and we haven't even started talking about uncommon yet. So, I mean,
Yeah.
so
Right.
let's
Right.
let me unwrap this for a minute. So, I
Yeah.
mean, there's got to be a time and point where you're at this Fortune 500 company doing well, and it's like you tell somebody, like you have the thought, like, man, I'm not into this, and then you tell
Yep.
somebody, and they tell somebody, and then you tell another person, and they're all saying, "Dude, are you crazy?" So, how did you
Crazy.
combat like that negativity, and to just follow your gut and follow your heart?
Yep. Um, it's funny. That exact same thing happened. So actually I was like performing at a level that like I was one of the younger people in a
Mm-hmm.
position like I shouldn't have been in that position at that age. You know what I mean? Like I
Mm-hmm.
was excelling, I was doing well. So like from the outsider's perspective, from management standpoint, some of my bosses, they were like, you are nuts. Like literally trying tooth and nail to talk me out of this. And to be honest with you, like there was um, nothing like telling me otherwise other than my gut. And it was kind of one of those first lessons as like stepping out into the real world where um, it was like, hey man, you either got to follow your gut and believe in yourself and believe like that this is the path. It's funny. Brian says this that he learned this recently on one of his podcasts. He talks about there's all these doors to choose, like which one is the right one. That was never something that I struggled with me personally. I felt like whatever door I'm going to go to is going to be, the door that I'm going to go down and make a path of it and believe that that's going to either lead to the right decision or to another door, like Brian always says. And so I just heard that my gut say, this isn't for you. Like, you're not going to enjoy this life for the next 30, 40, 50 years. And that was all I needed to know, man. I just went full steam ahead. And next, I quit, went back into school, EMTB, paramedic, firefighting academy, and then, next thing I know, full time fireman. So best thing I ever
Incredible.
did. Yeah.
And so how long have you now been a fireman in that capacity?
So I've been a fireman for now 16 years. 16 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
And no looking
12 with
back.
my current department. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's crazy. It goes fast, man. It goes fast.
Yeah. So now, okay, so you got the brotherhood, you're crushing
Yep.
it, you're a lieutenant. I mean, you're killing it, and then now you got a kind of the same gut feeling, like I kind of need to do something more. So now you're into
Yeah.
the brokerage side of it. So a
Yeah.
little bit
So
different than corporate, right? Because obviously
correct.
your salary sales, but now I mean you're the guy. So talk
Yeah.
about the why and the feeling to go towards this route and what got you into that too.
Sure, sure. That one's super cool because I didn't necessarily know that I wanted to go into the mortgage space. I had some offers and some kind of different options I could do. So I just started kind of figuring out, like when they say if you don't know what to do, focus on you, like build you first, and then
Hmm.
everything else kind of comes after that. Um, it's funny though, because the lesson from this shift started because it was like the first concrete um, life lesson of like you are who you are around. And
Hmm.
at the time, I had a crew that was a bunch of go-getters, a bunch of kill. I mean, they were killers. They still are. We're just not able to still be on the same crew. But like one guy in particular, just you sit next to winners long enough, you become a winner. And
Hmm.
I sat next to a guy that was fortunate enough to who was that guy that playing going back to sports days. He was probably the guy that always showed up first to practice, last to leave, outworked everybody, just had a drive inside him, and like it was contagious. And I just felt like at that moment in time in my life that although I was fulfilled doing what I was doing and was happy in a lot of areas of my life, that I felt like I was underachieving. And when you're around people like that, they make you want to do more and be better. And
Hmm.
and so I just woke up one day and I was like, I can do more. I could provide more for my family. I could do this. I could do that. And I didn't know what that was. So I just started going after myself, right? Like I changed some of my daily habits. I changed the way I was kind of performing day to day, which then turned into like, hey, I'm going to go. I actually started with going back to school to be a financial planner. And I got a couple of those certificates and licenses. And then just the way that life works, I was going down that door and another door opened. And I said, you know what, I'm going to go down this path. And so I got licensed as a mortgage broker and linked up with a great company and some really good mentors. And now, it's full steam ahead there. So, which is awesome because, like you said, I would never have gone back to a corporate setting, but it's giving me the
Hmm.
opportunity to you run it like it's your own business. And so
Yeah.
it's as much as you want to put into it or as little as you want to put into it, which is perfect for me because it's just ultra competitive, both internally and externally. So it's a great fit for me.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
when you look at it from the outside in, I mean, so now, I think the key part of that was that pivotal moment. It's kind of like when you left football and you're
Yep.
going out and just being a student and then trying to figure out the job and the career. And then it's like, who am I? There's something more to this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it just came full circle. And it's like you did more. And look, I've been there too. I mean, it was 2023, and I may have told you this story, but it was 2023, and I'm the offensive coordinator, high school football coach, and like I'm doing all the things. I'm coaching ball, like I'm just loving life, coaching ball, coming home after practice, drinking a couple beers, and like just watching
Hmm.
film, and like it's just doing all the things. And but then it just kind of it got like that kind of mindset just got old. Like we got really good. I love the process. I love coaching, and but I just noticed like my body was changing. I was, always tired, getting fatigued. My sleep was off. Started getting like that crazy, thoughts that were just bothering me, and just that endless cycle of worry. So it
Yeah.
just like said, okay, there's got to be more to this than that. And that's what led to the whole mental performance thing. Because my
Awesome.
passion's always been psychology, but I
Yeah.
knew I was like, there's got to be opportunity there for, like you said, providing for expanding and just networking out. And I mean,
Yeah.
lo and behold, I mean, that's why we're here. Without me
Yeah.
doing that, and branching out, I'm not going to men's summits and live elevated
Right.
experiences. So
Right.
it just, like you said, when you think one door is closing, but just 10 more open. And it started
Yeah.
with fixing myself, and it started with,
Yep.
a cold
Yep.
garage at 5 a.m. in the mornings. Not as cold as Chicago, but it's pretty cold.
Yeah, right. Hey,
So,
man, those early mornings
look,
are
so many,
they what
I know.
changes a guy. You
Well,
know.
absolutely. You can find out what you're made of in the early mornings when everybody's sleeping.
Amen. Amen.
So we go on to now you're still killing it in the as a fireman. You're still crushing it in the mortgage game. You're in shape. You're feeling good. You've changed things. So all of a sudden, Uncommon is born. All right.
Yep.
And you're wearing the shirt
Yep.
now. I freaking love it. And my
Yep.
mentor, I sent you the book, my mentor, Ben Newman, we're on Uncommon Live, and he wrote Uncommon Leadership. And
Yep.
That the branding just resonates with me so much. I love it because it just makes you
Yeah.
like, it's almost like you're just hungry to be different, man. So let's backtrack. Now
Yeah.
we're what's the calling? What is Uncommon? And then what
Yeah.
was
Okay.
the backtrack story to get to it?
Sure. Well, it's funny. So to first answer your question, what is uncommon? We're figuring that out still, and that's the beautiful thing about it is
Mm,
that it's an evolution.
mm, love that.
Especially like we just had a meeting the other day, and it was like kind of the nucleus, like I call them like the founding members, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, like this was my thing that I put this together, but like we're a team, man, and we're figuring out together and kind of developing this together as we go in terms of how we want to grow individually and as a group. So it's really exciting. It's funny though. I was talking to Adam, our boy from Florida, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
he actually described uncommon to me better than I could even describe it, of course, because he's just a wealth of knowledge all the time. But he was like, you know,
It's like a
uncommon,
walking philosophy book.
he is. He's the most stoic person ever. I mean, but like, so
Oh,
for me, it started because of a void that I had still. Like, I was doing so much, and yet doing more or accomplishing more wasn't bringing me peace. It wasn't bringing me a sense of, you know, it was always like I couldn't be present. I was always on to the next thing. I would, you know, I'd accomplish something, and then it, you know, that you chase, 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 and you think it's going to make you feel better, whether that be materialistic, a monetary number, whatever it was. I just was always chasing more. And, you know,
mm,
it's funny, actually, we were sitting around my backyard, a couple of buddies of mine, and we were talking about that. Like, what do you want out of life? And everybody was saying what they wanted. And my wife was out there actually, and she's like, what do you want? You know, I was lashed, like, what do you want? And without hesitation, I just said more. And that was kind of the turning point for me where I was like, what does that even mean to you? You know, like more what? And like, is more always better? Because you hear a lot of times, man, less is more. And I was at that point in my life
mm,
where I think less was needed to be more. Um,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yet here I go. I'm like, well, I need to build this group. And it's funny, like it started because I saw Pathos. I saw Pathos, which is one of Brian's kind of affiliates. They were doing all of the things that, you know, and we tie back to sports, but like the things that I was missing. Like, yes, I have the brotherhood at the firehouse, and yes, I have the competition level and kind of the strategy and planning with the mortgage side and the tactics from the firehouse and everything. But I didn't have that true sense of like, and what we talk about in Uncommon a lot is how many places can you go as an adult male where you get movement in terms of like physical fitness, you know, some type of physical challenge. You get mental practice where, you know, there's some form of mental, you know, stimuli, spiritual component, and community. You know, you can go to therapy, you can go to the gym, you can do all these things and touch on, but we don't have many avenues that you can do it all. And so, to be honest with you, I just reached out to the guys down in Florida. I said, "What are you guys doing, and how did it happen?" And I asked them the same questions, and they told me the coolest thing ever. They were super helpful, and they were just like, "If you don't have that in your life, go build it." And I said,
mm.
that was the springboard for me. And so I'm not somebody who does like social media. Like I don't want to put myself out there. I've wanted to do this group for a long time, and I avoided it because I didn't want to be out there. And then actually, you know, it was one of those kind of moments with where Brian actually said to me is like, if not if not you, then who? And like, who are you not to? You know, and so it's like you'd be robbing yourself of this, you know, what are you going to regret more? People hating on you because you're putting yourself out there, or, you know, never trying, you know? And so I put it out there. I got a great turnout from a bunch of the guys in my life, and we're meeting people and changing people's lives, including our own. And if it never gets bigger and never develops into anything else, it's already been a huge success because of the way that we've been able to develop as kind of a community and guys that network and help. I mean, guys are already sharing business ideas and referring each other things. And we've had guys change career paths and do different things in their life. It's been an absolute joy and privilege to be a part of. Yeah. It's probably one of the most
It's
fulfilling
incredible.
things we've got going. Yeah. It's awesome.
It's incredible. So walk me through. So if Not if, when I go to Uncommon, when I go to the meetup,
Yep.
what's your kind of framework? Like, I know you had based it off of Pathos, but
Yep.
what's your typical framework like on your whole meetup? And, how have you adjusted it over the course of the time that you've been doing it?
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. Because we definitely did change it. And we actually just met about this as a group to like really like hone it in on what we want every session to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, it was basically just straight physical. We just got together and worked out on the beach, which was
Mm-hmm.
cool. But
Mm-hmm.
that was the kicking point. We just knew we needed more and everything. So basically what happens, we meet at 7:15 a.m. on the beach twice a month. So we do like the second Saturday and the fourth Sunday. Um,
Mm-hmm.
rain or heat or whatever, it doesn't matter. The elements actually sometimes make it better, to be honest with you. But we
Yeah,
go
I
out there,
mean,
yeah, right. 7:15, we do a huddle up, we do a round up, and then we set the intention for the day. So somebody, whether it be me or somebody who has something on their heart, kind of talks to the group and brings the intention, brings maybe some quotes that they thought about, something, a book that they read, whatever, and we tap into like what the intention of today's meetup is going to be, which then kind of leads into more of like a quiet mindfulness session. um, and so kind of right away we're tapping into to the brain a little bit, and then we go straight into the warm up. We work out together, and then we always break down with some form of group discussion where we close with
mm-hmm.
you know some type of topic that we're all battling, that we can kind of assist each other in, learn from each other. We talk about, hey, who's doing this? Who's doing that? Habit wise, what are you doing to be successful in this avenue? And we kind of use that opportunity to grow from each other, network. And then we end with a plunge in the lake, man. Like, why wouldn't you? So,
Mm.
um, but we try to, like I said, we try to dynamic where it's always going to start with, a spiritual, a mental, a workout, and a community at the end. We finish always with community, and we break it down just like we're playing ball, and we get out of there. So in and out. But it's awesome. No, the best thing about it is when we get together and we experience that brotherhood, and we push in all those phases. The common theme that I love hearing is that everybody has that approach of like, man, I didn't want to come. I didn't want to wake up early. I had this going on. And they all are like, man, did I feel awesome when I left there? And so like, that's the thing, man. We just love getting together, and when we're done, we feel better. We feel better, men, husbands, dads.
Oh
It's
yeah.
been a really good thing for us. Yeah.
And I guarantee that the people who go, they'll say, "Man, I wish I would have done this sooner." Oh, I've been seeing you. I've heard about it, but man, I wish I would have done this sooner. I bet you get that a
Yeah.
lot too.
It's been positive, man, honestly. And to answer your question, like, what is uncommon? Like, when we really break it down, and I was talking about this with Adam, it's like, what is the term, or what it's really about, the difference between the way that we're living our lives, or that I'm living my lives now, versus what I was doing, wasn't that I was necessarily not waking up early. It wasn't that I wasn't working out or trying to, grow mentally and read and do all this stuff. But the difference is that we're doing it with intent behind it now. So we're being intentional. And so like Adam put it better. He's like, the difference between an uncommon man and a common man is just the intention behind it. And, it's super, it's so true, and it's really enlightening when you think of it that way. It's like when you start putting intent behind the decisions and the choices you're making,
Mhm.
I mean, your life goes in a better direction,
Gosh, that's so
you
Adam
know,
too.
isn't it?
Just
He
and
also
just
dropped me.
off the top of the dome too.
Off the top of his, he dropped me this one too, because the whole point of this is to be aware of who you are, where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish. And like recently, I told him, I'm like, hey man, I'm so busy, like I'm having a hard time being where my feet are. I know that's my biggest weakness, is like I need to be better at, like, when I'm dad, I'm dad. It doesn't matter that there's deals you got to call,
Yeah.
phones, I got to do better at that. And I struggle. And like, it actually had me questioning, like, do I need to step back from one of these ventures? And do I need to like produce more
Mhm.
just time to be present? And he asked me this. He said, which I think, anybody who would be willing to work on themselves, I think this is one of the best journal prompts you can do. Is he said, "Do you want to be successful or do you want to be significant?" And I was like, how do you,
Oh my
I'm like, of
gosh.
course. I'm like, how do I answer that? And, but I did the best I could. And it's like, I think the first thing that I thought about and that we're going to talk about at our next Uncommon meeting is the first thing to do is define what does successful mean to you? Because success to me today is different than it was a year ago. I'll tell you that much. So,
Yeah, yeah. I'm figuring it out too, man. It's powerful, and look, being where your feet are, it's such a challenge. Like when you have, it's like you have that go getter mentality, right? You have that relentless, uncommon mindset, but
yeah,
then you got to turn it off. I mean, it's just it's tough, man. But
yeah,
it's that's part of one of the best things you can do is in terms of like part of your morning routine or even a nightly routine is always looking forward for the next day, like scheduling it out, planning it out, right? So when you make that schedule, it's like even on your Google Calendar, like for 2 hours, I'm nothing but a dad, and it's like you just toss the phone out, and it's like you just let go.
yeah,
Because I've been
yeah,
on like retreats where we didn't do it on the summit, but I've been on retreats where they take your phone and watch for like 48 hours. They're like, you're going to disconnect completely and you're going to be
that's
completely
awesome.
present. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, let's do it. And at first you're like, oh man, this is
yeah,
different. But then all of a sudden you just let go. And
yeah,
it happens. It's hard to turn it off when you just get that idea and you just get that hunger for, that chase. But
yeah,
it's the
yeah,
balance. It's
yeah,
like, why do we chase? Well, because we want to circle back to being present and being where our feet are with the ones we love.
yeah,
That's all we want to do.
yeah,
So
yeah,
man, that's incredible. All right, so let me
yeah,
ask you this. So this is how I
yeah.
kind of want to end it is if you were looking at the Matt, the 23-year-old Matt that finished playing ball, finished college, and you could go back and you were talking to that Matt right now, okay?
Hmm.
What would you tell him? If you could, I guess, like I say, if you could peel back the curtain and just plant a seed in there and say, look, man, just start with this and just
Yeah,
do this. And not necessarily like a specific career advice, but what would allow that version of you that you would know then that you know now that you wish you knew then, I guess you could say, to plant that seed.
yeah. I mean, not to be a pun on words, but like that it's okay to be different, be uncommon. Um, I think that's kind of the name behind it is why I did that is for so long I thought I was weird. I thought I was wired differently than everybody else. And so I kind of pushed that down. Like, and I think that's why for a long time I felt like I was underachieving. I lost a lot of friends along the way, man. I had to change my, my makeup and my circle because I think that, at some point you start to realize like, man, I'm somebody who wants to soar. Like you either got to find people that want to soar or you got to stay where you're at. And so what I would tell that kid is I would say, it's okay. It's not a bad thing to be different than everybody else or feel that you're wired differently than everybody else. Lean into that and don't be ashamed of it. It's okay to lean into the fact that you're, whatever that person is, more competitive, more driven, more, that you want more out of life. Like that doesn't make you a bad person or weird. You just need to find your tribe that, supports that mission and that aligns with you. And I would tell them what I just recently found out that if you don't have that, go build it, and
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Man,
I honestly believe
incredible.
so much in the you are who you hang around with the most. And so that's why,
Yeah,
to try to build a community of people that push me and motivate me and can support me, that's what you got to do.
yeah. It's the environment you create. I mean, you can foster as much as you want internally, but you have to create a physical environment that will promote that growth. And
Yeah.
it's as simple and boring as reading,
Yeah.
relationships, what you consume, and then
Yeah.
letting go. And it's like
Yeah.
just those simple tools will put you in the right direction, just give you peace. Because all we want is peace and fulfillment, right? And that's what we want for our
Yeah.
kids. That's what we want for our family. I want you to be
Yeah.
at peace and I want you to have fulfillment. And that's it. And whatever
Yeah.
that might be, that's what it's going to be. Well, good,
Yeah.
man. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to continuing this dialogue and doing this again, and ready to book that ticket to Chicago. I'm ready to get
Hey
on
man,
there and get fired
I'll
up,
have you
G-Man.
I'll have you anytime you come, man. Anytime. You need to lead the whole
Oh
thing.
man, you got me thinking about. I might just do the cold plunge the whole time into the lake and just wait for
Well,
y'all.
it's
I'll
warm.
watch y'all
It's
from the water.
it's only cold now, man. Come in July, it'll be nice.
Oh, it's still too cold, man. Holy moly. Well, good,
You're
man. All right,
crazy.
Matt. So yeah, I'll put some links in down here to connect with you and check out Uncommon on Instagram and his socials. And
Appreciate you.
Matt, can't thank you enough. Incredible story, and we'll just keep doing what we do, man.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.